Paltrocast.
Christopher, two-part question to open up. How are you? The first one. Second one, are you Chris or are you Christopher?
I am great. Transparently, I'm not great. I lost my uncle this morning, my uncle Maurice,
Oh,
and so my heart is very heavy, but I have an amazing family to lean on. And so that's a little bit of truth for you. And
sure.
Chris or Christopher, as long as you don't call me stupid, I'm great.
Well, condolences to say the least. Thank you for still doing this. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you. Really admire the career that you have because not only are they great credits going on, but you really put in the work for what you've done. When did you know that this was going to be a career as opposed to, yeah, I'll land one or two things? Because I know about the training in London and all that besides the Atlanta stuff.
Yes, I would say I knew this would be a career since a very young age. I started off singing with my siblings and acting with my siblings since about the age of 4 or 5.
Hmm.
So I always knew that this is something that I would do regardless of if I was being paid by it. And so I
Right.
think it's a very special thing when you have such a deep connection to something that no matter if compensation is involved or the eyes or the acclaim is involved, it's still something that you would give your life to. And so it has led me here and no regrets.
So, speaking to the depth of your career, something like 1992 has very little in common with Black Lightning because they show different sides of you, obviously, voiceover versus live action. But the character Antoine, how much of Antoine is there in you, the human being?
I think there's a little bit of Antoine in every single young Black kid in America. I think Antoine is a kid who just wants to be heard, who
Mhm.
wants to be loved and supported, and who also has a lot of love to give. He just doesn't know how. And he's scared to love. And so Antoine is very layered. And I would say there's a lot of Antoine in me. Our circumstances are drastically different,
Mhm.
but I relate to Antoine in more ways than one.
It's interesting to hear that perspective because I'm old enough to remember the 92 riots and all
Right.
that. You are not.
Yes.
Obviously, culturally, you're aware and all that. How much research did you have to do for this, understanding that it's a script, that it's fiction, but at the same time, it's historical fiction?
We did so much research, like an uncomfortable amount of research to make sure that again we did the story justice. We were authentic, and although the 1992 riots is the backdrop of the film, it's still a very important element of the film because you do witness Antoine being in the riot and participating in the riot. And so I can just recall myself and Tyrese taking a road trip to Varna,
Oh,
uh, Bulgaria, at a little resort and just improving scenes and doing a deep dive study on why these moments are important and what we want the audience to feel when they watch this movie. And so it was very important for us to do research, and we did a lot of it.
when you mentioned the improv and the craft and all that, were you a Meisner kid?
Absolutely. How did you guess that?
Well, I get those good vibes out of you where you could do five different kinds of interviews where you could be the funny person or you could talk about the psychology behind the character. You give off those vibes in a good way.
Yes, I feel like you see right through me, and I'm scared now.
Well, in terms of the Meisner stuff, do you ever have directors go, "This is not a Meisner movie, drop it"?
Never, because I think I like to ask questions up front. I think a good actor, regardless of your method,
Yeah.
you want to not only do justice to the story, but that director, you want to bring their vision to life in the best way possible. And so I ask enough questions up front, and typically I get a gauge of how deep I can go into it, but then also allowing my other training to come to the forefront. Although Meisner, I'm very heavy Meisner based, sometimes it is good to pull out that little note that I got from drama school or that little note that I got from wherever class that I was in, that would help me in this moment. Just always keeping my tools in my toolbox readily available. So yeah.
Cool. Well, 1992 to us is a new movie.
Mhm.
To you, it is not. Some different things place it as 2022. The Loss of Ray Liotta tells us it's not a new movie as well. Are we allowed to know what's next from you, or is 1992 it forever and ever?
Absolutely. I have several projects cooking in the baker. I have a movie that will be released soon. I'm not gonna say the release date of it, but it's a movie called Spin the Bottle, starring Justin Long, Ali Larter, Kaylee Bryant, Tanner Stein, myself. Great cast. It's a horror film, so this is the first time you guys will be seeing me in a horror film, and hopefully not the last. Fingers crossed. And then I
Mhm.
have an amazing musical romantic drama called Keys that should be hitting the circuit soon, directed by the amazing Chris Brew. And so I think those two stories mean a lot to me because of the stories that they tell. The horror film is not just a horror film, it actually tells a story. It's not just about gore and murder, but
Right.
it's so much more than that. And then Keys is based on a true story. And so whenever you are able to step into someone else's shoes that they really lived, that is special in itself.
Is that Keys with a Z at the end?
Yes.
Got it. So I also, in cyber stalking you a little bit, I see some producer credits happening. So is that part of the long-term plan that you're not just on camera but behind the scenes?
Absolutely. I am currently producing a slate of projects from television and film. And so we have a lot of amazing things happening right now. And so just stay on the lookout. And I think some of these projects or all of these projects you will really enjoy because they're not the standard of what we typically see in Hollywood.
Well, is there a production banner name for you so that we see and we know, oh, okay, that's a Chris joint over there?
Yes, my company is called Hidden Jewels Productions. So a Hidden Jewels company. Yeah.
Got it. Hidden Jewels is what we're keeping an eye out for. And the last question has nothing to do with 1992. It's you, the human being. What's the last concert that you went to?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say, wow, I've been to quite a few. The last concert that I actually went to would have to be, I seen Exhibit. He
Hmm.
performed an entire 45-minute set at Fuel Fest, which is actually Cody Walker and Tyrese Gibson's event. It's a race car show. And Exhibit put on an amazing show, and Vin Diesel came out at the end, and it was just one of the most amazing experiences. And so, if you missed that, I feel very sorry for you.
So now I know that Tyrese goes to Bulgaria. Tyrese has concerts. I didn't know that besides, his singing career, his acting career, etc. So this film is just filled with interesting people. So thank you for your time, Chris. Looking forward to what's to come and just keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. Great talking to you.
Paltrocast.